We start here this hour. So today, dreams turn into reality for delegates at the ANC's conference in Nasrec. It's the second last day of the party's national conference. Yesterday, delegates voted for the top 7, and the day was marked by shifting views as lobbying continued. Let's get the latest from Muloko Moloto, who's there at the grounds in Nasrec. Good morning, Muloko. What is the state of play this morning?
Hello, Mfundo Mabalani. We understand that the delegates were meant to be here back at the Nasrec Expo Center at this hour at 9 o'clock. And I'm told that immediately when they arrive at plenary as members of the media, we will also be invited in. And that's when the elections agency that has been running the elections of the ANC will make an announcement as to who I beg pardon, who would have emerged as the party president, and of course also for the other remaining 6 positions that were contested here. We understand that the last province to vote last night was the host province of Gauteng, and the vote counting continued immediately after that, so they did not necessarily have to wait and start counting perhaps in the early hours of this morning, because you will understand that immediately when the ballots are cast, they become very sensitive if you leave them up to until the next day. I'm not too sure at this point in time as to whether the elections agency has concluded with the counting, but we haven't really been getting, at least from the delegates and some of the people who we believe might have knowledge around that process. Up to so far, I have not had anything that indicates that there are issues or problems or people raising unhappiness. Of course, we continue to see mainly the ANC staffers arriving here, which perhaps is an indication that there's going to be, we can start any time from now. But as for the delegates, as much as we are not allowed to go onto the other side of the plenary, but from where we are standing, we are able to see them as they arrive walking onto the plenary, in as much as we won't be able to talk to them. But I've been told that immediately after announcing the results of who the new leadership of the ANC is, the chairperson of the ANC Electoral Committee, Kgalema Motlanthe, the former state president, along with the newly elected Secretary General, will now come to the media hall, wherein they are going to be addressing members of the media.
Muloko, just talk to us about at least yesterday's last-minute horse trading, because we know that even Didi Mabuza, lobbyist, went on to address some of his supporters to tell them that from here on they need to support Zweli Mkhize. We saw what happened with Mzwandile Masina, with Joey, and then opting that all his supporters should then support Pule Mabe. Quite a lot has been happening, and even Ronald Lamula has now withdrew, or at least there was a conversation that perhaps he should allow for Oscar Maboyane to progress as deputy president.
Mfundo, so much has happened over the past 48 hours. We first saw the leaders of Limpopo province, specifically the chairperson there, Stan Mathabatha, and also the deputy chairperson, Florence Radzilani, trying to lobby the delegates from their province. Initially, we know Stan Mathabatha is the first ANC leader to publicly declare that Ramaphosa must get a second term in January last year. Now, he has since changed his mind. He no longer believes Ramaphosa is the right man for this position. He supports Zweli Mkhize. He publicly said that when he was addressing the delegates. Now, however, the secretary of the ANC in Limpopo, Ruben Madache, doesn't seem to be agreeing with the chairperson, because after the Stan Mathabatha and Florence Radzilani tried to lobby publicly the delegates, he issued a statement, that is the secretary, to say the PEC has never changed its mind. It continues to support President Cyril Ramaphosa. That tells you already that Limpopo is divided, and it's bringing the 3rd largest delegation, which is very important. You also have Nono Maloyi, the chairperson of the ANC, in the Northwest. On Wednesday or Thursday, when I was in his province, I spoke to him and I asked who he support for the president and the secretary position. He said they support Ramaphosa and they support Fikile Mbalula for the position of Secretary General. He has changed. He has joined the Zweli Mkhize camp, and he obviously, Zweli Mkhize is going with Phumulo Masualle. Even here in Gauteng, there are deep divisions. Now, you talk of David Mabuza, a very interesting character there. He did not enjoy the support of the branches during the nomination process at the branch level. They did not nominate him for any position. That is why he did not even meet the threshold. However, when it came to nominations within the plenary, his name was nominated. However, he outrightly denied or declined that particular nomination for him to remain deputy president of the ANC. Some people are saying he knew that he would not amass enough support even at the plenary level, and that would have been an embarrassment for him. However, Mfundo, last night I was listening to Bathabile Dlamini when he was speaking to Denzel Taylor of Power FM, and she mentioned something very interesting to say that they have been meeting as the leaders who support Zweli Mkhize. He named Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, he named Lindiwe Sisulu, he also named Tony Yengeni, he also named Ace Magashule, whom we know is suspended and was told not to participate in ANC structures. He also said that they met with David Mabuza to discuss how they are going to assist Zweli Mkhize to become president of the ANC. That tells you that there were people who possibly, in the case definitely of Stan Mathabata and seemingly Nono Maloyi, that Ramaphosa possibly believed they were supporting him, and it turned out that they were submarining. So it will not come as a surprise should Zweli Mkhize, despite the fact that he came into this conference trailing behind Ramaphosa, who had been nominated by nearly 2 times the number of branches that nominated Zweli Mkhize. But Mfundo, you'd recall, early in July around there, as ENCA, we mentioned that actually Limpopo will be turning their back on Ramaphosa. And when we mentioned that Stan Mathabata is the chairperson, clearly he was not pleased. I do remember when we attended the funeral of the slain Collins Chabane mayor, the municipality there, Mr. Moses Maluleke. Stan Mathabata, when he took to the podium, he's addressed that particular matter to say that there are journalists who are saying that we are going to withdraw our support for Cyril Ramaphosa. It's untrue. Our support for Ramaphosa, as he said, was intact. However, we all now know that it actually is not true. However, to be fair to him and the argument made or advanced by his supporters, they are saying that the slate of Cyril Ramaphosa has rejected him. They did not want to support him as chairperson. Now, the branch members or delegates of Limpopo who support Mathabata are saying, but you have been nominated overwhelmingly by KwaZulu-Natal. They are saying they want you as chairperson. Why do you want to support Ramaphosa, whose slate, or possibly himself, Ramaphosa, doesn't support you for the position of chairperson? They are saying we support those who support us. However, we know that they are highly divided. But obviously, with Pule Mabe now agreeing with Zondile Masina, they were both contesting for the position of Treasurer General in the 11th hour. They agreed that Masina will withdraw his candidacy and his people will then go and support Pule Mabe. The decision, as we all know, has now been made. Up to so far, voting has closed. What is now waiting to happen is just the announcement. And of course, as I was told a short while before I came on air, the very first business of this conference today will be to announce who is the new leadership of the ANC by the elections agency.
All right, Moloko, we'll leave it there for now and catch up with you as soon as those results are to be announced. That's reporter Moloko Moloto coming to us live from Nazareth.